Good morning guys, I'm Lee and this is Barham Engines. So, the two Cosworths are finally finished. See, this one on the left is the one over there, the one with the light blue rocker cover. All this part. So, he's all done, turbo's on, got a couple of little bits on here, but I'm just waiting for oil and filter to turn up for both of these actually. Also, what has come in stock is the turbo oil feed pipe kit. So that's coming as well from Burton. But this engine is all done and the turbo has arrived. So we've got that turbo on. Now that is what was a T34, but it's a T38 conversion. So bored out the front, big billet wheel in there. And this is good for probably just over a 450 horsepower. And bear in mind that this is in a Mark II Escort. So this is going to be fairly tasty in that. Just a couple of little bits to go on afterwards, and they're ready to go back. We had a little sort out the workshop yesterday. We've got the V8 Rover bits. They're all cleaned up. Paul cleaned those up, so I'm going to get the block on the hone and hone that out. We're going to go through the cylinder heads hopefully today, and then that job, well, I think John's got to grind the crank or maybe polish it, but then that's done. We've got the 4.2 Jag here, so we've got to go through the cylinder head on that. We've got to grind the crank and balance the crank assembly, obviously reface the flywheel. The block is over there, so I'm going to set that up this morning and get that on its way board. We've got this other Jag here. This is another 4.2. I'm going to put that on the engine stand today where the Cosworth was. The Heeley's all over here set up. So yeah, we're getting pretty organised and well on the way of doing most of what we've got in here really. Right, over here we've got the Alfa Romeo that I've got to drill the oil holes in the side of the block. So done one side, the underneath there. What I had to do there was drill all the way through the main into the oil gallery, which is there. So basically ended up about here. The problem with doing this, it's only a couple of holes, but it's the actual setup. So now I've turned the block over. It wasn't so bad on the other side, but now I've turned the block over. Firstly, we've got these studs in the way, so we can't go back far enough to be able to drill this hole. This one here, we've only got to drill down to the center main. But as you can see, if we had that block set in line, we just wouldn't be able to go far enough back without these touching the back. What I've done, first obstacle, you've got to have this angle plate high enough, so put that on parallels. Secondly, you've got the main studs in the way. So what I do is put parallels top and bottom in line with the base of the block, just so we get it true that way. Obviously there's a bolt going all the way through and clamping down the bottom there. And then we've got to just get it aligned this way, which is we've done that. So obviously to get over the fact that we can't go back far enough, I've just had to tilt this around enough so we can obviously get that bolt hole in line without anything going near the back. So it's all a little bit of a Heath Robinson, but this just takes time, you know. Just to drill two holes is ridiculous really. It takes about 2 or 3 hours to do this job, but hopefully this morning we can just get that back far enough and I can whip through there. So we've got Mark coming in at the end of today, so I want to get Paul Doves in today and tomorrow, but I'm going to get him to strip this head out, get it all cleaned up, and we can get those nasty pits ground out, ready for Mark to weld up. Now this head is, I think this is about 1.2 millimeters off the face over time. So what we've had to do, the only option we've got is a Cometic multi-layer steel head gasket in here. Now Cometic are the only ones really that do the different thicknesses. I always like to use the Victor Rines WRC one, but obviously with these they come in different thicknesses, so we can make up the difference. Because it's got standard pistons in it without valve cutouts, block hasn't been faced, this is our only option really. So this gasket is obviously, I I think it's about 2.2 mil. So we've got the original mill plus the extra that's been took off the head. So that should be okay with that, albeit the block face being good enough. That's the trouble. So there, as you can see, I've managed to get it in line, but only just. I've got about 2 or 3 mil to spare on this pack stud here, and over the back, probably about 10 mil away from the machine, but that is all I can jiggery it to get it in line, so we're pretty lucky there. Otherwise I'd have had to change the setup, and that is going to have been a ball ache. So we're going to drill down here now. So what we're doing is we're going from the main oil gallery, and we're going right the way down through into that main hole down there. We've got to start off nice and slow, make sure that the drill doesn't wander off. And what we're doing, we're going to start with a small drill. Obviously the shorter the drill to start with, the less chance there is to flapping about and wandering away from the line you want to take. The trouble is, the next problem I got is because this long series drill is the only one we've got, we have to sort of go down with this as far as we can go. There we go. We then zero the readout. So I just thought I'd show you this, guys. This is an L200 cylinder head. And the customer brought it in, and he was a little bit surprised that that it's sort of gone again, because he said we've done this 2 years ago. But as you can see, this is the second cut at 3 thou. And it's proper overheated, so he looks like he's got other issues somewhere. And the fact we did it 2 years ago is by the by, really. So, you guys know that I like to have a little bit of a moan about mainly old customers or warranty jobs, something like that. But today's little moan is not particularly about customers. Right, first of all, you all know when I do these videos, I'm the sort of person that I always think I know what I know, what I don't know. I'm not too proud or don't feel ashamed of asking people that have been around a lot longer than I have a lot more experience in stuff. I mean, I even say to you guys, I'll do videos and put something in a video where I'm looking for information. I'll sift through the comments and I'll use that information from you guys. You know, you've been more than helpful. There's a lot of guys out there that watch our videos that are a lot more experienced in some subjects or some engines than we are, really, because as I say, although we specialise mainly in the Cosworths, we do sort of general engines, so we're not experts in everything. There are little traits on certain engines that we're not familiar with. That's why I use you guys to get information out of sometimes, so I'm never too proud. But my little rant today is on people that ring up, and it does particularly seem more so with the performance stuff, and the classic stuff, but more so with the performance stuff. I don't mind people ringing me up and getting information off me at all. I mean, if I've got, we're very busy, but if I've got time, I will willingly answer emails, messages, and answer the phone and speak to people on the phone, and I've helped them, no problem at all. That's part of the job for me. There's people out there that are looking for knowledge the same as we are, really. But what does seem to grind on me is people that are specialists, and it may be people that have been around a lot longer than I am, and got a lot, dealt with a lot more people, and maybe know more than I do, but when they ring me up and have to throw as much of their sort of knowledge at me as possible, I even get them where they're ringing up and questioning what I'm doing with engines, as in clearances and this, that, the other. It's one thing if you need information, but if you're trying to prove to me how much more knowledgeable you are than me, I'm really not interested, to be honest with you. If you are more knowledgeable than me, that's absolutely fine. don't mind that at all. I think of the engine reconditioning game as like a community. You know, I'll use you as much as you want to use me, but to just ring up and waste my time and sort of try and prove to me what you know, half the time when they ring up, you find out that some of these builders, they're not really as familiar with the clearances and the running tolerances and all this than they think they are. They sort of fire questions at me and they ask half a question half the time, and you can tell that they've read a bit, they know a bit, but they don't know everything. So I would just appreciate it if you didn't bother, really. I'm not really too fussed on what you know and who knows what and who's better than the next man, really. All I'm interested in is trying to produce the best product I can for my customer, be as best I can with customer services, and try and build a relationship with my customers and my suppliers and you know, people that I sort of deal with from a day-to-day basis. And that's it for me. So yeah, don't bother wasting my time, guys. Not really interested in how much you know. Just thought I'd have a little rant on that. As you can see, guys, I've got the 4.2 jag block on the boring bar. Now this is at a standard bore, so yeah, really good nick for one of these when you bear in mind how old they are now. So I've got this up, set the boring bar at plus 20 to start with, just to see if it cleans. We're on our last bore here, and you see all the rest have cleaned really well. So yeah, we've only had to go to 20 on this. Very rare, usually have to go to 30 at least. So once we've finished this, we're going to get it up on the mill over there and replace the block. I can hone it out, clean it all up, paint it, and then the block is pretty much done. Over here on the grinder, we've got the Morris 8. This is the one with all the welding on the top, so I'm just about to set that up, give it a lick over, and fingers crossed we've got no more cracks in there, and we can get those liners pushed in and get this one out the door. So as you can see, there's the alpha block down there. We've done the cross drilling, and that is all done for Bob Dove. He's got a crank apparently, so we're not going to do the invoice yet. We've got a crank to grind and then probably balance. So guys, the L200 head, this is the one that was on the mill earlier that I had to take, well, in the end we've had to take 20 thou off it, so half a mil off this. I rang the customer, I said, look, what we're going to have to do on this, the only thing you can do is we're going to have to cut the valves back. Obviously, because of the valve to piston clearance and what have you, we can supply the thickest gasket, but in these they only go up to about 10 thou bigger. So we'll supply the biggest gasket, but we're going to cut the seats back 20 thou, and then we're going to take 20 thou off the end of the stem of the valves, and then that's going to leave you not too far out on the clearances. So Isaac's just putting these springs back in, and the valves are in, new seals. If you have a look underneath there, you can see that I've cut the valves back, and what I do is I take a measurement from the valve to the head and do it back to original, really. But like I say, the only trouble is you've got to take it off the end of the stem. There is a cap that goes over the top of these, so providing once the cap's on, the cap doesn't touch the collet or the spring top, then you're all right. But if it is, I've had it before where we've had to take that much off the top of the valve here that we've had to trim the cam. It's again, my saying, it's a bit Heath Robinson, but if it saves the head, that's what you've got to do. Thanks ever so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment down below, quite willingly. I'll read them all. We'll see you in another video. Take care, guys.